Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tiddle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And in today's reading, I want to look at the last woman in the UK to be hung. Her name is Ruth Ellis, and she was hanged in 1955 at 28 years old. And as I say, yes, she was the last woman to be hanged in this country. Even if you're American, please watch this because it's a very interesting case. And I'm sure that you'll have cases similar in America where you feel that the woman who is actually hung shouldn't have been, very sort of mitigating circumstances and, was it the right thing? So we no longer have the death penalty in this country. And this isn't about the death penalty. This is just about this woman's life, Ruth Ellis. So I'm going to use the Tarot of the Abyss to illustrate this story, really. So I just want to see how the cards can tell her story. So what I'm going to do is start at the beginning. She was 28 years old when she was hanged for murder. She was born into a family, a mother and a father. She had an older sister, Muriel. The mother and father lost one of their sons. And it seems that when the father found out that his son had died, he changed totally. His personality changed and it brought out something in him, and he became extremely aggressive, both physically and unfortunately sexually aggressive as well. And he took this out on Ruth Ellis's older sister, Muriel. And the dreadful thing was he got Muriel pregnant. He got his own daughter pregnant. And the mother knew this had happened. And they basically covered it all up. And the mother and father brought up the daughter's baby as their own. And it was absolutely dreadful situation. And then the father decided that he was done with Muriel and that he would turn his attentions onto Ruth Ellis. And Ruth was, no, you're not doing what you did to my sister to me. You're not doing that to me. Yeah. She spoke her truth, and it was like, no, I am not having this. You've ruined my sister's life. You've raped her. You've ruined her life. You're not doing that to me. I speak this. This is the truth, and this is not going to happen. Good on her. Good on her. She stood her ground and she went away. And it's strange because 10 of Cups, this is like your happy family. But look at this. Look how this person is leaving, or is pulling away from the hand trying to hold her back. And I see this as Ruth Ellis pulling away from this family. I would think from the outside, 10 of Cups is very much looking good from the outside, and their family probably did. Middle-class family, husband and wife, 2 daughters. It probably all looked quite Instagrammy on the outside. Yes, all very good. But of course it wasn't. There was this sexual violence inside. There was this, this situation of the father raping the oldest daughter and then turning his attentions to the youngest daughter. A very, very very dreadful family, not the 10 of Cups, but then the 10 of Cups is not what it appears to be. So yes, I see her pulling away, and she went to London. And Ruth had no education, really. She'd left school early, was not an educated girl. So she goes down to London, and she gets into the company of a woman. Now, Ruth is about 15 when she goes down to London. She gets into the company of a woman who's about 30. Yeah. And this is not a wise decision at all. The Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is usually in the Rider-Waite pack. It's the couple with a baby in a boat, and they're moving off to calmer waters. They're leaving their troubles behind, and whether it's actually physically moving or mentally moving, you're moving to a calmer state, a calmer place. Well, she moved, but she didn't move to a calmer situation. She moved to somewhere that was equally as turbulent. She went down to London, and this is during the war. You know, most people are trying to flee London. She goes into London, and and she meets up with this woman who is double her age and is not a wise one. This is the wise one. This is the person who, you know, gives you good counsel, gives you good advice. Look how wise this is with all the feathers here. And, you know that this is somebody who won't lead you astray. You sort of listen to this person. Well, no, this was somebody who totally led her astray, got her into basically prostitution. She was doing escort work, and she was always told that she had a good body, so she was doing photography, nude photography, or this kind of thing. She tried working as a secretary, and she tried to earn money in another way, but you know, it wasn't happening. So she went for using her body to earn money. Yeah, so you know, as I say, it's during the war. And in London, there are loads of soldiers around, loads of soldiers. And she gets attached to a French-Canadian soldier. Let's just have a look at that, this French-Canadian soldier. Four of Cups. Well, she was very attached to him, but him not so her. He did get her pregnant. And I think that her idea of the whole thing was, oh, you know, he'll take me back to Canada. I'll have the baby. He'll take me back to Canada. We'll live happily ever after. Well, that didn't happen. This French-Canadian soldier, he went back to his wife, and, you know, the baby didn't exist as far as he was concerned. So, you know, we've got the Four of Cups in reverse. The Four of Cups in reverse is this indifference from this soldier. You know, I'm really... Not am I just not interested, I really do not want to know. You know, I'm married, I don't want to know. So, you know, you've got that indifference. Well, I can't be bothered. That's the Four of Cups. I can't be bothered with this. But no, I mean, this is actually, you know, magnified. No, I really do not want to know. Don't tell me about this. I'm moving away. I'm getting away from this. So she's basically dumped by this Canadian French soldier. So she's got this baby boy, and now she really has to step up to the mark. She's got to earn money. So she buckles down on her work as an escort in clubs in London. So, I mean, we have death. Death not as in death, but, you know, she's had her worst time. She's had this child and the father has gone. She's got to reinvent herself. And death is very much, you know, coming up with something different. Well, she did, but her death card was not a great reinvention. Very often death cards, you know, you reinvent yourself as a phoenix and you rise from the ashes and you go on to a better, you know, better situation. This invention of hers, well, it was successful. She was a very, very good escort. She was very well liked by the men and everything, and very popular. So in a way, you know, it was a rebirth of her. But Three of Swords, it brought nothing but heartache. Three of Swords is just the total heartache of this situation. You know, she was being used by men. She knew that. She was using them to get money. So, you know, an awful way to be living, really. And at this time, she met George Ellis, and this is the man that she married. Now, he was a 41-year-old divorced dentist who was an alcoholic. I guess better, doesn't it? So, yeah, she rushed into this. I think that she saw in him a dentist. He was probably quite wealthy. She thought of the stability. I'm going to rush after this person. I'm going to get this man because, you know, he's divorced. He's free. He was free. He didn't have a wife in Canada. He's free. He has money. But, you know, she rushed into it. And the man is an alcoholic. And it really is the 10 of Wands. And it started off as a burden. You know, they were not matched. It was a violent relationship. It was full of distrust. One of them was having an affair, then the other one was, and you know, they're playing around on each other, and it just a really unhappy relationship. And she carried that burden of that relationship until she got pregnant again. And he said, well, I don't believe that's my baby. You know, you've been playing around. That's not my baby. I'm not supporting that. So she divorced him. And there you are. She let it go. She just let this man go. She decided that she was better off on her own, bringing money in for her boy and her girl. Now she had a daughter with this man, so she now had 2 children. So she let him go, and she doubled down on being a hostess of a nightclub, and earned decent money. And brought up her children above the nightclub. She had a flat. So, you know, I mean, she's surviving. She's surviving, whether you agree with how she made her money. But, you know, men used her and she used men. And then one day, David Blakely walks in to the nightclub, and they get together. So what was it like with David Blakely? Ace of Wands in reverse. This is unstable passion. Your Ace of Wands, this is your new start with someone. Your perhaps a romantic, a passionate relationship. Oh, how wonderful, that fire, you know, the fiery wand of a relationship. You're very sexual. Well, it was, but my God, it was burning to be destructive, this relationship. So much destruction, so much passion and fire that they were literally coming to blows. He would be having affairs again, she would be having affairs. It was just the most awful energy between these two. He was 3 years younger, very attractive man, very wealthy, you know, driving sports cars, and you know, but she was insanely jealous of him. And this passion, this jealousy, oh, it was just a match made in hell, really, the two of them. So she gets pregnant again. So, you know, there've been quite a few pregnancies, and children that had been miscarried. Well, this was a miscarry. He punched her in the belly, and she had a miscarriage of this child with him. So yeah, the Fool in reverse, it didn't go anywhere. That pregnancy, it was just miscarried. There was no new life. There was no Fool's new journey with this new child. And I think after that, her opinion of him went very, very low, and she was very low. She was very depressed, and he was still running around with other women. And I think she was mentally unstable at this stage. It was abuse. She'd been abused from being a girl at home to being abused as a 15-year-old, you know, getting onto the streets at 15, to marrying this older dentist who abused her mentally, and then this man David Blakely, who abused her physically and mentally. And I don't think she was a stable woman at all. And the Fool, this baby, this miscarriage caused by him attacking her, well, this never went anywhere. That was the end of that. And it was the end of her, really, because she was so distraught. I don't know where she got the gum from, but she managed to get a gum. And he was coming out of a pub, and she was waiting for him in the broad daylight, this was, and she shot him 4 times. Yeah. Let's put these up the right way. So you've got the Three of Wands and you've got Justice. Now, of course, to shoot someone is never right, but in her head, you know, the Three of Wands, you could make this situation better. You know, get rid of this man. It's justice because, you know, he's caused me to have a miscarriage. He's tormenting me mentally. You know, this is justice. He deserves to die. He needs to die. This is her in her, you know, fraught state. He's not bringing me in what I need. I need somebody who's going to bring my ships in, who's going to look after me, who's going to, you know, bring me money and security. This is what the ship coming in is. But of course, it was neither of those things. You know, it wasn't justice. I mean, the man was horrible and he was a vile creature, but, you know, she took justice into her own hands, which it never goes well, does it? And, well, this is another stop card, a bit like the Fool. You know, nothing good can come out of this. Nothing good can come to you. If you shoot someone and you take their life, you know, there is nothing good coming towards you. So she makes that choice. She shoots him. And there's an off-duty policeman walking close by and he sees it all and he arrests her, even though he's not on duty. He arrests her. And she says straight away, yes, I did it. I did it. I mean, everybody saw that she'd done it, but yes, I did it. There you are, Seven of Pentacles. I see the Seven of Pentacles as being that thing that builds up. I mean, this woman here, she's cooking loaves of bread. To make a loaf of bread and to get it out of the oven and everything, it takes a while, doesn't it? You've got to knead it, you've got to nurture it, you've got to do a lot to it before you can ever have a loaf of bread. And I think all of this has all been like the build up, you know, the recipe to this shooting. The recipe to this shooting was the violence, was the miscarriage, was everything that had happened to her. It was like all the steps in a recipe program, you know, and then there she was with this loaf of bread. There she was with this dead body. Yes, she'd done it. She'd worked on it, and she'd done this because she'd had to put up with all this toil. And I quite see the Seven of Pentacles as toil. And she'd put up with that from him. And this person's end result is a loaf of bread. Her end result was a dead man because that was justice. So she's arrested straight away and charged with murder because she admitted it. You know, there wasn't any, well, did she do it? Was she guilty? And we're talking about 1955, you know. So, yeah, she did it. It went before the jury. They found her guilty really quickly. And in the UK at that time, if you were found guilty of murder, it was an automatic death sentence by hanging. So let's just see about that. Yeah. Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is that sharp, quick energy. This is the finding her guilty and, you know, doing this quickly. It's not like it is in America, you know, where you could be on death row for years. And you may even die on death row naturally. No, it wasn't like that in the UK. It was, if you were sentenced to death by hanging, it happened quickly. You know, we're talking, you know, very, very quickly this happening. So this is like the shark attack. She's found guilty very quickly. She's put into Holloway prison and she's put, you know, in the sort of area of Holloway prison that she's going to go into that area and be hanged. So quick, sharp. And then this is exactly the same, the Seven of Swords. This is something happening quickly. And look how this character's poking round the corner and just looking. This is like almost like sly energy, getting away with something. Now, I don't see anybody got away with something, but what I do think is there was a petition of 50,000 people who signed it and saying, you know, this woman shouldn't be hung. You know, she'd had a dreadful life, and all kinds of people signed this petition, you know, please don't hang this woman. She's, you know, she was not in her right mind. She had such an awful life. She doesn't deserve to be hanged. And so this is like getting away with it. No, they ignored that. And this is your getting away with it card. They decide, no, no, we don't care about your petition. We're going to do it because that's the right thing to do. And this is very much, I'll do what I want and bugger the consequences sort of thing. So I think this is the law, the judges. No, she's done it. This is going to happen. So yes, she was taken from Holloway Prison to the area within the prison where the prisoners are hanged. And the gentleman that did the hanging was called Albert Pierpoint, and he was the executioner. Albert Pierpoint. Queen of Cups. This is a very emotional card. She was very very emotional. She was going to her death, but she was also very kind, and he always remembered that she smiled to him and she was gracious. And through all this terrible emotion, she still had the and probably mental insecurity, mental instability. This is all very much the Queen of Cups, this mentally unstable energy, but she was still the Queen of Cups, and she smiled at him. And she knew what he had to do. He had to do it. It was his job, Albert Pierpoint. So he hanged her, but that was his last execution. He didn't hang anybody else after that, and he said that this doesn't work. Hanging isn't the answer. And 10 years later, the UK stopped hanging people altogether. So I just want a few more cards just on Ruth Ellis, on her life. Ace of Swords in reverse. Justice card, isn't it? The Ace of Swords, the truth, the legal truth, the facts. Well, there was more to this case than meets the eye. And yes, she admitted it. Yes, I shot him. I intended to shoot him. I wanted him dead. This man had caused her a miscarriage. He caused her mental anguish. But none of that was accounted for in the case. We're talking 1955. People didn't care about domestic violence. There was no support for women. And this is your justice card in reverse, your truth card in reverse. She didn't deserve what she got. And that's what I'm feeling. And I think that's what the cards are telling me. This wasn't a fair sentence, sentencing her to death. And and there we have it. Look, death. Four of Swords. Four of Swords isn't always death. It can mean lying down in a darkened room and recovering. But the traditional meaning, the Four of Swords, it is death. Look at the skull here. We've got it inverted, which to me is absolute. It isn't just, you recover, you go to prison, you do your sentence, you lay low, and then you come out. Well, no, of course not. She was executed. And all the way through this, this was a woman that was abused by men. She used men, yes, but I think the way that they used her was far worse. And Ruth Ellis, she was a beautiful looking woman, very, very glamorous. And when she went to court, they said, oh, try and look a little bit more dowdy. She said, no. And she bleached her hair blonde, stuck on her bright red lipstick. And, she went out there and she looked like Marilyn Monroe there in the court, very, very sort of glamorous woman. And yes, she had a dreadful life, absolutely dreadful. Did she deserve to be hanged? I don't think so, and I don't think my cards think that either. I think that they feel that it was a miscarriage of justice. So let me know what you think. If you know about Ruth Ellis and you know more than I do, which I'm sure many of you do, you can fill in all the blanks for me. And if you don't know about Ruth Ellis, maybe Google her. And if you're American, I think that maybe you could tell me about a woman from America who got hung or hanged in, a similar sort of scenario back, not now, but, back in the 50s or so. And let me know whether you think that your case that you would talk about is an injustice. Anyway, I shall leave that one with you, and God bless you. God bless you, Ruth Ellis, and rest in peace. And I'll be back again with another one very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.